You're listening to the Becoming More Me podcast with me, Theresa Lear Levine. You're already enough. But if you're anything like me, you thrive when you're stretching and developing yourself, creating more of the person you feel called to be. This podcast is here to inspire and support you. Let's release the negative, reinforce the positive, and elevate our vibe together as we tap into our limitless potential to transform and grow. Hey, everybody. It's just me today. Are you excited? Are you disappointed? Have you been loving all of the amazing guests that have been on here for the last 9 or 10 episodes? There has been such an influx of requests for people to just share their passion, share the ways that they're becoming more of who they're meant to be and helping others to do the same in this world. And I have so enjoyed holding space for that. And also immensely missed sharing in this off the cuff, just me and my crazy thoughts kind of way with you. I think you get a little bit of that when I interview people because, we go back and forth. It's not just one person talking, but I feel like so much has happened in the last 2.5 or 3 months since I've recorded a solo episode that I'm kind of like bursting at the seams. I don't know where to start. As kind of tends to be the way with me, I have just hit record and I'm now just dumping the contents of my head. And I hope that excites you. I know by the time I publish this, I'll know what I talked about and it will have a title and topic summary and stuff. But when I start recording my episodes, even still, it's kind of like episode 0, no such thing as ready. So I begin. And I know myself well enough to know that if I feel like I have to plan this out perfectly for you guys, I will never do it. So doing it from the heart, doing it with intuition, doing it and trusting is how I tend to deliver probably 90% of the solo episodes that you have ever listened to that I have created. And my interviews are a lot of off the cuff stuff too. If you're a podcaster out there, maybe you can, relate. I know some podcasters, because I guest a lot, they'll send me full lists of these are the questions that I'm going to ask you. And I love that kind of organization. And also, I rarely do anything other than skim them because I don't like the vibe that comes through when I've pre-planned answers. I can feel that vibe in my old interviews when I felt like I needed to kind of have bullet points or a script to go off of, and they don't feel as much like me. I'd rather be put in a position of saying, I don't know, or can we come back to that? Or, okay, let me Google that, than have something that felt rehearsed. So I love that. And when I interview people, I do like to create a nice bio, and I do like to create something that's not just what the person sent me. But I will say this, for those of you who go on podcasts, if you use like a 1-page bio, which is like killer, by the way, podcast hosts love to receive it. And as a guest, it makes you so much more presentable. When you have your bio on there, include it in a way that can be read without the host having to do too much to change it. Now, someone like me is probably still going to go look at your website or hunt around on your social media or do things to give it a personal twist, because I know as somebody who's been on a lot of podcasts, I get tired of hearing the same bio read over and over and over again. I change up the bio that's on my 1-sheet bio resume kind of thing every few months because my business and exactly the way that I'm kind of projecting myself out there goes under changes. And also, I just personally get tired of hearing the same thing over and over again, even if it is still accurate and true. It's like when you're starting to, this used to happen to me. Like when I was in a play when I was in first grade, The Ugly Duckling. I had the lead part. So I was both the swan and the ugly duckling. I still have the VHS, which I have transferred onto DVD and MP3 to save for posterity. Do any of you do that with your cassette tapes or VHS tapes, anything like that? I have transferred everything into like a digital format so that I can enjoy it, including all of the lyrics and songs that I wrote and sang into my boombox and recorded with friends, all of the tapes that my awesome band, the Fire Ants, recorded from middle school through early high school. It's all saved for posterity, and all of it would also embarrass the crap out of me if anybody heard it. So it's like, I don't know why I do this to myself. And also, it's brilliant, you know? It's like when I have recordings of sessions that I've done with life coaches and healers and things myself over the years, and I look back a few years later at those recordings and I'm like, damn, like the growth is exponential. It's like fun to kind of like look back at the train wreck that was you, and also the brilliant emerging you that was you, and to just thank it and bless it and appreciate it and know that you're going to feel the same way about where you are in your present moment 10, 15, 20 years down the road, and just look at it all with humor and love and acceptance. And it's you, you know, what else are you going to do? So I update that kind of stuff because I find myself like I was back when I was in the Ugly Duckling and I was 6 years old in first grade. I loved acting. I loved that I had this part. I valued it. I practiced, I rehearsed, and I knew everybody else's part. And if you watch the video, I am literally lip syncing everyone's lines, everybody's. And it's like embarrassing. It's like, oh my gosh, Theresa, why couldn't you just shut your mouth and let them shine? It was like I had to project out there that I knew it. I knew it as well as them or better than them. I was the one that was there to do that part because I was committed and I lip synced everybody's everything. So I feel that starting to come up sometimes when my bio gets stale and I'm like, oh, no, start to kind of like lip sync along with the host as they're announcing me, or like get agitated if they mess it up because like they should know it. I mean, they've read it maybe once, maybe not even, and I have read it 952 times. So I like to keep that kind of stuff fresh. So if you're somebody that goes on podcasts, it's just a tip, because otherwise, if you don't write your bio in a way that can be read, you're creating more work for the host, who already, you know, is somebody whose time and efforts should be honored. And it might not get read the way you want it to be read, or they might not read anything at all. And then you're put in the position of basically presenting it. And are you ready to do that in a way that, you know, like I wouldn't start a podcast by like reading my bio. It'd be weird. So anyway, so that's how this podcast is going to start. Now we know what the beginning has in store for us. And I don't remember why I brought that up, but I was just talking about all the amazing people that have been coming on my show, all the requests that I've been getting, and I've loved it. It's been fun. And I think I was about to say that when I do have guests on, I love to create a nice bio that's a little different. I often am told by my guests that, wow, that was the nicest introduction I've ever heard, or you ask really thoughtful questions, you're a great interviewer, that kind of stuff. And I receive that, and I feel like it's very true. And I know that I put time and thought into where an interview might go without preconceiving or setting in stone the questions that are going to be asked. And I think that's really important if you're hosting a podcast, not to just have a list of 5 or 10 questions and go down them one by one as if each one of them is imperative, but rather to have a great couple of questions and to be open to where they go and able to shift with them and ask things that allow answers to go deeper, things to get more expansive, things to get more personal. You know the vibe. So I think that's pretty cool. And I'm looking forward to doing some more solo episodes for you guys too. And I've got a lot more guests lined up as well. It's crazy, you know, to think we're coming up on, what are we coming up on? 2 years? 2 years, I think. I don't even know anymore, of doing the Becoming More Me podcast. And At first it was like, crickets, or, you see like there's like 7 people that listened during the week, and you're like, oh, I know that's like my mom and, somebody that loves working with me, and maybe who knows who. And now there's so many people listening, and I'm getting so much feedback and everything. And it just, I say that not to toot my own horn, but because I've always been told from the beginning that podcasting is a long-term strategy. It's the long game, whether you are a host or a guest. And I began guesting right around the same time that I began hosting, within a couple of months of each other. And when I began hosting my podcast, it's always been weekly. I've always released a show weekly on Thursdays. When I began guesting, it was a show here and there, like every couple or few months. And then I got a booking agent and did like 75 shows in a year. And now I'm slowing down the pace of guesting a little bit because it's been such a catalyst to my business growing, and working with my clients is always kind of the utmost importance, below my own personal life and family and things. My clients are near and dear to me, and their results are, they're everything. So yeah, that's where things are in the podcasting world. But it's crazy now to like be recognized in the way that I am, and to think, oh my gosh, I'm the same girl that had no idea where the F this was going a couple of years ago, or why I was doing it, or how it was going to impact things. And now to have just trusted, believed, and leaned into it. And it's gone some really awesome, awesome places. And the conversations I've gotten to have, and the people I've gotten to talk to, it's just been so freaking amazing. I'm grateful. So yeah, a lot of guest interviews have been happening the first part of this year. And I've talked about this on other shows, but I've also decided to go for a greater level of hypnotherapy that I can add to my business, and become a certified hypnotherapist in a certain form of hypnotherapy known as RTT, rapid transformational technique. And I'm super excited to be able to start bringing that to my clients this summer. So I'm already a hypnotic communicator, and I do elements of hypnosis within the work that I do when it's called for or advantageous. This is going to take things to a crazy new level. I'm so excited. I've personally had so much growth and transformation through my own hypnotherapy, with my hypnotherapist who I see here locally, with self-hypnosis. And oh, my heart is just like so excited to bring this in, especially in the ways that I see myself putting it together with EFT tapping, with all the work I'm doing with the energy portals and visualizations and all the whole 9 yards. Like, the transformations and clearing of blocks that people experience when they work with me are already phenomenal. And this is going to take it up, I don't even know how many notches. So stay tuned. I'm super excited for the way this is going to be incorporated into my Becoming More Me signature program, and also see what other kind of needs arise that I can fulfill in my one-to-one capacities. So really excited about that, and really enjoying the program too, and the people that I'm meeting through doing that. So that's all just, it's been a blessing. And I would love to kind of check in with you guys too. I know that last year I had kind of put it out there that it was going to be the year that I brought a book into the world. Spoiler alert, it was not, but that's okay. And I don't know yet if this is the year either. And I'm open to a book coming to fruition in the next few months. I'm also open to it happening at a later time. There's a lot going on right now. And there's also some things that feel like they're just not quite here yet for it. And I think that's more me fighting it coming into the physical being than it is the truth that it's not ready. Because when I really think about it, I feel like I already have my first 3 books. And the fact of the matter is, I've got to get that first one out so that I can birth it and the next iterations and the ones that are meant to come after it. So it's still something that I really, really am passionate about making happen. But the timeline hasn't been the one I originally set out for it to be. In 2022, I was like, I had like my spreadsheet and I'm like, I'm going to write for this many minutes or hours or whatever every week. And I'm going to be this many words along by this date and finished before my birthday, which is in late May, at least with the rough draft. And then it's going to be published before the end of summer. And hooray, there is my plan for becoming a published author. And I'm also going to have all the time and efforts organized to, promote it and get the interest raised and everything else. Well, no, it didn't happen that way. And I'm glad that it didn't, because with all of the interviewing I did last year, all of the guesting, I feel like so much of my story developed. So much of what I really want to be part of that first book ended up in so many of those interviews. And it sparked a lot of ideas that I want to go deeper on. So just like everything else in life, I know that it's going to be perfectly aligned and right on time. But I also think it's important to say, like, I'm not quitting over here. The decisions have been made to focus on other things, and I honor that. And I like putting things out there to you guys. I feel like it adds a level of accountability. And here I am coming back to that, basically giving you an update and saying, no, I didn't do it. I didn't stay accountable to the goal as I put it out there last year, but I'm okay with that. And I'm very happy with the things that took the place of that and developed during that time I would have otherwise been using to write the book. So I don't feel like the year was wasted. I don't feel like the time was wasted. I don't have a regret. Would I love to have already published a book and be on to the next one? Hell yeah. I mean, especially if I could just, snap my fingers and it'd be done. But I can't. And it will be here when it's ready. So, and I hope that's feels good to hear for anybody who has goals that are taking longer than they thought they should. I think so many of our goals tend to. It doesn't have to be that way. And there's plenty of things that happen in these crazy fast periods of time when we're really into our manifesting zone and really aligning with the frequency of that which we desire. And things happen in these time frames that are insanely fast. And then there's other things that happen. We think, gosh, I should be able to write and publish a book in 6 months. And it takes years. And that's okay too. Neither one is right or wrong. I think the most important thing is staying in touch with your intentions, staying in touch with your goals, not just quietly quitting on yourself and shrinking away or acting like you never had the intention or the goal in the first place. And just staying in touch with that part of you if it's still a desire that you have. And if it's not, it's okay. It doesn't mean that you quit. It means you made a different decision, and that is equally okay. So that's some of what has been going on over here in business world. And, in my personal life, there's so much going on also. We've got one of our oldest son is graduating from high school this year, and we are just trying to figure out what after that is going to look like. He's weighing his options for colleges that he's been accepted to and trying to figure out what he really wants. And I think that's a hard position to be in for any kid. I don't really think a whole lot of 17-year-old kids honestly know what they want. I know I didn't. I know he doesn't. And I think there's a feeling of, well, I should know and I don't, that makes people feel a little less than. And I think that kind of sucks too, because it's just one of the first big decisions that people make that comes with uncertainty. And uncertainty is just part of our human condition that we never get away from. But it's also why I think it's so important to develop our intuition and our self-trust so that as we make decisions that we will never know, was it the right decision? Was it the wrong decision? That kind of stuff. As we make those decisions, we can just have more confidence that it was a decision and it was meant to be at the time. And in most cases, with most decisions, we can make a different decision at another time and change course if we need to. But I think college is one of those things that to a high school senior, it feels huge. It feels like it's do or die. They're not thinking about the fact that they could transfer somewhere else after a year, or they could take a year off and figure some things out, or whatever. There's like all these statistics getting thrown at them and everything else, and they're feeling all this pressure to commit to things they're not sure of and everything else. And that kind of stuff reoccurs in all different areas of our life, our career, our businesses, our relationship choices, parenting, for the rest of our lives. So it's just a great opportunity to start getting comfortable with decision making and on a larger level. So that's going on with my oldest. And also, robotics season is in full swing. So we are rooting for Team 1111. And my middle schooler is doing an aquatic version of robotics this season called Sea Perch. And that's new to all of us. And he's really enjoying it. And I'm really enjoying hearing about what they're building and doing. Unfortunately, it's not as open as First Robotics is, as far as me being able to go in and mentor, see what they're doing, go to competitions, things like that. So it's okay because it's allowing my son Jonah and I to have more conversations about things like that. And it's always great to have things to have good conversations about with, a 13-year-old. He just turned 13, and have that common ground to have meaningful conversations. So that's really cool. And like I just said, we just celebrated his birthday. So we've had family visiting and just been doing that. A month before, in February, my youngest, my baby, turned 6. So we were celebrating all of that for Jordan. And my 9-year-old's still 9. So his birthday was in October. And I was just thinking this morning, I was talking to a friend. My 3rd grader went on a field trip the other day to the theater. They saw a really cool, I think it was the Super Scientific Circus or something like that at the theater. And he loved it. And he'd been looking forward to it for the last month since the permission slips came out. And we realized this is the first field trip he's been on since preschool, since before the pandemic. Isn't that crazy? I just think of all the fun field trips that my older kids enjoyed in 1st, 2nd, and even the earlier parts of 3rd grade and kindergarten. And he missed out on all of that. Really stinks. Part of it was actually the pandemic when they were virtual, and then part of it was we're back in school, but it's still kind of like half-assed. So, it's just crazy to me, like how different things have been for them in ways that I don't even think about sometimes. And to think, gosh, this is his first field trip since preschool. And I mean, it was just like a 2 or 3 hour field trip, just, out of school in the morning to go, back to school by lunchtime. But they enjoyed it and it was good. And I was very happy for him and his class to be getting back to that part of normal and enjoying something different than just being in the classroom all day, doing the regular routine. So that's exciting. My younger 2 are starting soccer in a couple more weeks. We chose a league this year that just meets once a week, and I could not be happier. Haven't even experienced it yet. Don't know if we love it or not, but I already love the schedule difference. Sports bog me down, guys. And my kids don't love being overscheduled either. And there's this love-hate relationship with they're going to be on video games too much if they don't have activities. And also, I don't feel like being on the road, driving people all over the place, or I don't enjoy like the sideline sports stuff a million days a week. And the fact of the matter is, I have 4 kids, and my oldest can now, drive himself all over the place. He's been doing that for a year now. So, he can go do his activities without needing me. But all of the rest of them need me to drop them off and pick them up and stuff. And my nervous system needs some time to chill at the end of the day. And I think this is what so many people are missing. And we get so into the routine of being busy every blessed minute of the day. And it's not good for us. Like, I don't need to tell you that, do I? Like, you know that. I know that. And yet we're uncomfortable when we're not going, doing. And we feel somehow like we're falling short or we're supposed to have to do things that way. It comes up in all different ways. It comes up with our work. We have to work hard if we're going to, you know, be compensated in the way that we want to. That's BS. We have to constantly be doing things for our kids or they're not going to turn out right. That's also BS. Our kids need time to be able to do things on their own, to not be bothered by us telling them how to do them, and to be able to be creative and play on their own and develop in a natural and undirected way, and to also have our guidance available, and to also see us model a way of living that isn't fucking crazy. Like, do we really want to teach our kids that when they grow up, they should work from before the sun comes up until maybe right before dinner time, and then try to scrap something together to eat or go out to eat? And then it's pretty much time to get ready to go to bed and do it all over again. Maybe you cram in a family board game. Maybe you cram in a soccer practice or a dance class or whatever your kids enjoy. But you probably forget to take a deep breath all day long. Is that really what we want to impart to this next generation and get them all wiry and have their nervous systems all dysregulated 24/7 and teach them this is how you live and this is the only way? Like, that gets wired in early. And I'm guilty over here. Okay, so I'm not saying like I've always done it better and different and you should too, but like, let's get conscious. That's part of the work that I do. It's part of what's benefited me so much, is getting conscious of these things and also implementing boundaries. And I have been implementing new boundaries like an MFer over here for the last couple of months, whether it's the stating to myself each day that I'm going to be done working at a certain time. And that means I'm done working and I'm going to transition into family or things that need to get done around the house or whatever else in a relaxed and happy way. That's been huge. Also, creating more white space on my calendar. For the longest time, whether people were booking on my podcast or booking as a client or booking to just kind of have like a virtual tea and connect with me for business purposes or booking for other things that I offered the same hours for all of those things. And I would end up with these days that were scattered, maybe there's like a connection call here, and then I see a client, and then I'm recording a podcast, and maybe there's 15 minutes between this call and that call, and there's an hour and a half between that call and the next call. And while I do always look at tomorrow before it happens so that I know where my special pockets of time are to be a superhero and get stuff done, it was exhausting. And I could feel it. I could look at the day ahead and just feel drained looking at it. And that wasn't even doing the stuff that needed to be done. So I have gotten very dialed in about when I do my podcasts, and also like not doing them all the time. I used to have availability to like book in and do my show 4 or 5 days a week at different times. So guess what? I'd be recording shows all different days of the week, but I don't want to. Optimally, I'd like to record shows 1 day a week, do 2 or 3 episodes, and by some point through the year, I have a lot of episodes lined up and I don't even have to record for a bit, and then I can focus on other things. And I've had a lot of nice stretches like that this year that I'm just like, gosh, we've got episodes for weeks. I like that. I don't like getting ahead of myself, like months ahead of myself. It just feels like too often we talk about things on my show that are happening, and it would be kind of weird for them to be released months and months later. And also, I know that podcasts are these evergreen things that live forever, and people will still listen to an episode where we're talking about an event that happened specifically at a specific time 6, 10, 20 years from now, and it will still have relevant meaning. So whatever. But yeah, so I've really dialed in my calendar. I have limited my availability to do insight and breakthrough calls with interested parties, because I'm working with so many clients right now. This year has been the biggest, best year so far for becoming more me as a business. And I'm so grateful. Thank you to all of you who are working with me, who are interested in working with me, who are supporting this and understanding the value of being coached in this way and making really lasting, deep, meaningful breakthroughs that allow you to show up differently in your life. Like, no joke, no fluff. Really showing up differently, feeling differently, and making value aligned changes, changing habits and patterns, reprogramming your mind, and being able to understand whether, gosh, so many things like, did you change your mind or did it change you? Like, what's going on over there? Like, getting conscious in ways that you haven't experienced yet. It's huge. It makes a total difference in your relationships, whether it's, a marriage or dating or just attracting the right relationship, your parenting, if you have kids, or other, familial or close relationships. It makes a huge difference in the money you earn and attract. It makes a huge difference in the business you're building or the work that you're doing. If you're an employee, it makes a huge, huge difference everywhere. So thank you to everybody who has found value in healing and growing and transcending trauma and so much more in order to step into becoming more of the person you want to be in this world. I can't thank you enough. And I know that you can't thank you enough either. So it's been huge. So yeah, it's been a big year of growth and creating new boundaries. I am always receiving my own coaching, business coaching, energetics coaching. I see a hypnotherapist. I see a life coach. I am always receiving and allowing myself to marinate in and grow from that which I partake in to uplevel myself. So, if you've gotten my Better Therapy checklist, which I'm happy to link in the show notes if you haven't, I always say, like, if you're looking for a coach, if you're looking for a healer, if you're looking for a practitioner to work with, you better make sure and ask them. Like, don't be shy or think it's going to be offensive to ask. Like, what are they doing to make themselves better? What are they doing to support their own growth? And if they're not doing anything, maybe you want to think twice about whether or not they're the kind of person that can help you expand and grow, or whether you want to keep looking. It's an important thing to me. I don't work with people who are not doing work on themselves because it's that big of a deal. So, yeah, this is what's happening in the life over here. And I'm sure it's just the tip of an iceberg since I have not done a solo episode in months. But I did want to just let you in on what's new, and also let you know that like everything's awesome with me and my hubby too. So we're having a really good season and just so many awesome conversations happening right now in our marriage. So many, just it feels fresh and new in the way that almost 15 years of being married kind of relationship can. And that might have been a weird thing to say because some people feel like if they've been married for that long that things can't be fresh and new. I think things can always be fresh and new. So I'm really enjoying the state of our relationship right now, the conversations we're getting to have, it's really good right now. So things are good there. We're really enjoying all the stages the kids are in right now. He's getting fulfillment out of the work that he's doing. I'm getting immensely fulfilled from the work I'm doing. And everybody in this household and under this roof, dogs and fish included, are just thriving and enjoying this season a lot, I think. Even the challenges and the parts of it that are hard, challenging, it's a good time. And definitely feeling really blessed and grateful and thankful and here for it. So thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. And I will hopefully see you on another solo episode in the near future. And I hope in the meantime that you're enjoying the guests. If you love listening to this show and enjoy the content, please leave me a review on Apple Podcast. It means the world to me, and it makes a huge difference to listeners that are looking for valuable content and shows to experience, to see your reviews. And if you are interested in how you can connect more with me or learn about the kind of one-on-one coaching that I do, please feel free to check the links in the show notes. And I would love to chat with you more about the possibilities. Thanks for listening. Have an awesome day. Thanks so much for listening. If you loved this episode, please share it with a friend or post on social media and tag me so I can personally connect and thank you. Until next time, keep taking bold and brave action steps towards becoming more of who you want to be in this world. You are capable, you are worthy, and you are enough. Keep shining your light.